guys, welcome to my channel. This is Leanne with Custom Crafts by Charlie, and we're going to get into DIY number 1. We are going to need some tumbling tower blocks here from the Dollar Tree. Now, I was looking on Etsy at these mini book stacks, and they wanted $20 for one. I'm like, we can make these for a couple dollars, and we can make several. You're going to need some white chalk paint or some apple barrel white paint, whatever kind of white paint you have. Some rub-on transfers or some stickers, or if you have a Cricut machine, whatever works for you. I decided to go with these because I liked them. I thought they were cute. And some wood glue. I use Titebond because it is the best in my opinion, but you can use whatever type of wood glue that you have. I'm going to make 2 stacks, so I'm using 12 tumbling tower blocks. And I'm going to get out my silicone mat because nothing sticks to this thing. And we're just going to glue these together in 2s. So you're going to have 6 sets of 2 tumbling tower blocks glued together. And that's what I'm doing here. I am new. This is my first YouTube channel and my first video, so welcome. And I'm a beginner, so if I make mistakes, don't be afraid to leave me a comment and let me know, hey, I think you need to do this next time. So here I am just gluing them together, wiping off the excess glue. And when these are done drying, you may see some of them are uneven because all tumbling tower blocks are uneven. I mean, they're from the Dollar Tree, but they work. So if they're uneven, just take a little bit of sand to them, sand them down, try to get them as even as possible. In this Titebond glue, like somebody recommended it to me and I haven't gone back since. So here they are glued together, all sanded down, and obviously the next step is to paint them. So you got 6 sets of 2 blocks, and we're going to make 2 mini book stacks with these. Now I was going to use my white chalk paint, and for some reason I opened it up and it was like really watery. So I decided to go with the apple barrel paint here. And that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to paint them white. Like I said, you can paint them whatever color you choose to. I just figured spring, white, you know, it'll go. Plus the rub-on transfers that I did choose, the wording was black. And that would show up best on the white paint. I love these new paintbrushes that the Dollar Tree has out in their, I think it's their Shore collection, Seashore collection or something like that they just put out. These new white paintbrushes, I'm telling you, they go on so smooth. I picked up a bunch of packs while I was there. And I know this is how I paint everything. I paint it all except for where my fingers are. And then I take the heat gun and I dry that part. And then I move it around and paint the other part where my fingers were. I've been painting like that for years. If you guys have an easier way, let me know. But this is how I do it. So here I am with the heat gun, just drying it. Word of advice. Don't put it on high when you're drying anything because it will cause the paint to bubble. Keep it on a low setting and keep moving it around. Don't keep it in one spot because it will bubble. And we don't want bubbles. So here I am just painting where my fingers were holding that. And she's done. You're going to paint the rest of them. And through the magic of camera, these are all done and dried. So now we have our 6x of 2 painted. and that will give us 2 book stacks. I'm looking at the words, because if we're making money book stacks, these words are going to go on the spine, obviously. I'm trying to get a better view so you guys can see. So we're going to need really tiny words. So that's what I'm looking for. I see good times. I see live and love you. So, and now I'm looking for book covers, because I am going to create book covers as well on each book. So I'm just looking through, and this vintage one is my favorite. I absolutely love this rub-on transfer. So I cut out all the small words I could find, and this is what I came up with. Smile, love you, good times, love, live, XOXO, the, wonder, and then I'm looking at book covers. Okay, that would be cute. A little flower, another little flower. This says Amour on top with a leaf. And I'm just looking at what would be appealing to the eye. Some script writing. That's cute. So I pick out 6 small images. A vintage postcard. Love that. And now I'm going to take the small words and I put them together in 3s. So with the spine of the book, you know, each book going down, it's going to be cohesive. It's not just going to be random words. And this is what I came up with. I came up with the good times is going to be one set. So one book is going to say the second book will say good, the third book will say times, and then the second set is going to say live, love, and smile. So for some reason, this set of transfers gave me such a hard time. Usually I can literally rub them on with my nail, and these were not coming off. Mind you, it's like 4 a.m. when I'm shooting this video, and nothing was going right. Nothing was going right at all. So I take my Cricut tool, my leader, and I really had to press to get these rub-on transfers to stick. I know, maybe it was just that one, because I didn't have a problem after that. I don't know if it was the paint. I don't know if it was the surface. I don't know. But I had such a hard time getting them to stick. Hopefully, if you guys use rub-ons, they don't give you the problem they gave me. So here I am with my Cricut tool, just getting that on there, on the spine of the book. And I did it all the way over to the right. Because I knew maybe I wanted to add something to the left of the book stack when I was done. So I gave myself room for that option just in case. And when I went to lift it up, the word was coming off with it. So I'm trying here very gently just to lift that plastic coating off and actually leave the word stuck to the wood. So that's what I'm doing here, and I actually had to press it down again, and that's what we came up with. It looks cute. The words are the perfect size for these tiny books. Now we're going to do smile and put that one on the second book spine. Like I said, I don't know if it was just a sheet of rub-on transfers, but it gave me a really hard time. Like, super hard. And I never, ever, ever thought about doing a DIY video. Little backstory. I do, like, custom home decor. I rehab old furniture. I make custom anything, really. And I have a shop. I have my own website. And everybody kept telling me, you need to do DIY videos. You have to do DIY videos on a budget. I'm telling you, be a big hit. So I am attempting to get this video out there. And please, like I said, if you have any constructive criticism at all, look, there's the smile on the second book. Leave it in the comments. Let me know. I'm new at this, so all your help I would appreciate, honestly. So I'm fast forwarding past this part because we know how to do rub-ons. And you don't need to see me do this. It's going to take an hour. So here we are. We're done with both book stacks. They look super cute. Each one has a cover. Each one has a word on the spine. And I'm trying to like hold them at the right angle so you guys can see them. Like I said, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. This is my first video. I'm sure I'll get better as time goes on. So that's our first stack. And our second book stack says The Good Times. And I figured I'd put that pretty little flower on top because it is spring. And then we have the black and white love with the flower and some pretty black and white script for the good times. And I was not happy. One of them needed some twine. So I'm going to take this piece of twine right here, wrap it around the Good Times book, give it a cute little bow on top, and then I was happy. I could not believe when I seen these on Etsy for $20 each. I mean, you figure, you do the math. Tumbling tower blocks, you get 72 in each box for $1.25. You break that down, and you need, what, six blocks for each book stack. You can make 12 book stacks out of one box of tumbling tower blocks. $20 just seemed excessively high for me, especially with inflation and all that. Why not do it yourself? And these will look so cute on a tiered tray, on a shelf, anywhere basically. Super, super, super duper cute. And they are done. Easy peasy, strawberry freezy. Now we're going into DIY number 2. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. Give me a big thumbs up so YouTube knows that this is content you want to see. So when we were doing the first one, I thought about bigger books. So I'm going to use Jenga Blocks. And I'm going to do 1 book stack. So we're going to need 6 Jenga Blocks. And I'm going to use my apple barrel paint again. I would have used the Waverly, but again, I said it was watered down, so I went with the apple barrel. We're going to make book covers for this. So I got some cardstock, some pretty thick cardstock. And rub-ons again. And some wood glue. And anybody that's ever used Jenga Blocks knows that it says Jenga on both sides. And it's engraved into that block pretty good. So we're making book covers. So one side of the block is going to be covered, but the other side isn't. So I'm actually going to take my sander and I am going to sand that Jenga off. You can always paint over it. But that would bother me. If you could see it, it would bother me. So I'm going to take my Ryobi sander, and I'm just going to sand the Jenga off. Now, if you choose to do this, of course, be careful if you're working with power tools. But you only need to do one side of 3 blocks. So you only need to sand the Jenga off one side of 3 blocks, because you're not going to see the other Jengas. They're going to be glued together. And see, that's it. one side of 3 blocks. 3 blocks can have both sides. 3 blocks only has one side. Because we're going to glue them together. So you're only going to see that one side sticking out after we put the book cover on. And you just paint over the other side. So now I'm going to glue them together with my Titebond wood glue. I'm going to wipe off any excess glue the same way we made the mini book stacks. We're going to make the larger book stacks. The only difference is these are going to have a book cover. And the reason why I went with the book cover is because our mini book stacks, we can't change them now. They're done. So if we wanted to go with the summer theme, we would have to make new ones. However, if we put book covers on them, we can just make new book covers and change them out according to the season. So these book stacks are going to be interchangeable, which saves time and money. And I'm all about saving time and money. I have 2 toddlers. I do not have a lot of time in the day, so this is great for me. Again, wipe off any excess glue. Glue them together. Make sure you let them sit if you're using the Titebond. It does dry fairly quickly, but I usually like to let them sit for at least an hour. That way I know they got a really good bond and they're not going to come off if I go to sand something. But with Jenga blocks, they're all cut even and smooth. You very rarely have to sand anything on a Jenga block. They're all smooth. They're all cut the same way. The only thing I ever have to sand is the word Jenga. So we're going to glue our last block together. Just make sure if you did sand one side, you don't glue that side together. Make sure that side is always exposed. Just making sure they're even, so I don't have any hiccups along the way. Smooth as a baby's bottom. Okay, so now we're going to take the apple barrel, or you can use your chalk paint, whatever paint you choose. You can paint them whatever color. I painted mine white. So now you can see that's the side I didn't sand, and you can see the Jenga underneath the white paint. This side, nothing. So now I'm going to measure these so I can actually cut the cardstock. So I see it's a little under 3 inches, and I moved the ruler out a little because I knew I wanted a little overhang. It's going to be a book cover. So I made a template. I just cut it 3¼ inches wide, and I wrapped it around my book until I was comfortable with the overhang. And then I cut it to where I liked it, and I used that for a template. So we're going to do the same thing we did with the first set of books. We're going to pick out our words that are going to fit the spine perfectly. So look for the medium-sized words now, because these are bigger blocks. And I cut out 3 really super pretty pictures for the book covers, or rub-ons for the book covers. And if I had some overhang, I actually wrapped it around and rubbed it on the inside cover because it made it look more finished, like here. I just thought that was like, it just looked more finished that way. Now I got this glue tape at the Dollar Tree. you get 2 packs or 2 units in 1 pack for $1.25. Now this is like double-sided tape on a roll. It's almost like the whiteout rolls that they have. And I'm going to put it on the side where you can see the Jenga, because that's where we're going to attach our book spine. And I figured with the double-sided tape, it's not going to be permanent. We can actually pull this book cover off and interchange it as we see fit. And this stuff worked awesome for this project. I highly recommend you get a pack and just have it in your stash for like little DIYs like this. And here we are. We have our first book done. I chose Happiness with a little pattern to go on the front with some script writing. And it's super cute, guys. Look at that. It's not too small. It's a little bit bigger. And I did all 3 book covers the same way. For some reason, I didn't know what I did. I think I went backwards with the glue. Like, I rolled it on the wrong way. And I had a little hiccup here. I messed it up a little bit. See, stuff like this happens to us. Everyday people, stuff like this happens to. Nothing is perfect. And I said, you know what? I'm going to leave this in my video. Because people don't see the mistakes that happen. People usually edit those out. No, I'm going to leave this in there because this is stuff that happens. So I'm just fooling around, trying to figure out what I did. And finally I realized, like, I went the wrong way. And it just spun the glue back. So there was no glue on the tape. So when I actually pulled it out and rolled it the right way, it actually just fixed itself. So you just roll it on the side of the block or the spine of the book, and you press it down on your cover. Now, this glue is not super strong, but it's strong enough to hold the cover on. So when we want to make new covers, you can just pull that off, add a little bit more of this double-sided tape, and boom, you have a new set of books. And keep your old covers, because you can put them on next spring or next summer or whenever you feel like changing your book covers out. Now, all 3 of them are done. Super adorable. They look like they have real covers. And they're bigger. They're like 3 inches tall by 2 inches wide, I believe. These came out so good, I decided to make another set after this. Here they are, all done. And here they are styled in my little farmhouse shelf. Super cute, guys. Alright, we're going into DIY number 3. Guys, please hit the subscribe button and give me a big thumbs up if you're enjoying my channel, so YouTube knows this is content you want to see, and it helps my channel grow. Now, I found this napkin at the Dollar Tree. It has a really pretty poppy on the front, and I decided I am going to decoupage this napkin on this wood palette. So you're going to need the wood palette, you're going to need some white paint, and some Mod Podge. Now, whenever I get any wood pieces from the Dollar Tree, I always sand them down, because sometimes they can be a little rough. Sometimes you have rough pieces sticking out or what have you. So I always sand my wood pieces from the Dollar Tree down to make sure that I have a nice smooth surface to work on. So here I am. I'm going to take my finger sander and just sand off any rough patches that I see. This one wasn't really that bad, so I didn't have to sand it too much. And guys, whenever you decoupage something, depending on what color your napkin is, my background on this napkin was white. So I am going to paint just the front of these wood slats white, because that will help the flowers pop. It helps the color in the napkin pop when you paint before you Mod Podge it. Instead of you Mod Podging it directly to the natural wood, you paint it. And when you paint, it just brings them colors to life. So here I am painting. We're actually going to fast forward past this part. You guys know how to paint, I'm sure. I'm only doing the front of the slats. I'm not getting in between. I'm not going to paint the back. I'm only doing the front. Because I want it to look like I didn't actually paint first. That napkin was just, or that image was just applied to this palette. And it's going to look more finished. So the reason why I'm sanding is because I did get a little white paint on the sides. So I'm just sanding that white paint off. So all you see is the natural wood on the sides. And this finger sander comes in handy, guys. This thing gets in places you normally can't get with regular sandpaper. And I'm sure you guys know when you decoupage, most of the napkins are 2-ply. So you want to pull that second ply off. So you just have the piece with the image on it. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm trying not to rip my image. For some reason, this one was really stuck together. So I'm going very slow, very carefully to get that off in one piece. It's not a rush, so take your time. When I do crafts, this calms me so much. I have really high anxiety, and when I'm in my craft room, I am as calm as a cucumber. So this is not only a hobby, but it's also like a therapy for me. It's very therapeutic. Alright, here I am. She's done. So, obviously the pallet's only but so big. I believe it's like 6 inches long by 4 inches wide. So I'm going to actually trim the sides of that napkin. And I'm just going to have the image in the middle, the long strip. I love this image, guys. These flowers are absolutely beautiful. And that poppy is just so pretty to me. Again, if you can't find this exact napkin, do whatever image is appealing to your eye. This is your home. You're decorating your home. So you do what's appealing to you and what matches your style. Now I'm actually going to lay this image on the palette and see what length I need so I can cut it to size. And I don't want that line on the end in there. So I'm going to overhang that, but make sure I get the poppy. And there we go. That's all I need. I'm going to put that to the side for another project. Now we're going to take a sponge brush. I always use a sponge brush when I'm doing Mod Podge because it doesn't leave the brush strokes. When I use a paintbrush, it always leaves brush strokes. The only thing with the sponge brush is it soaks up a lot of your Mod Podge. So you have to apply more than normal because a lot of it is going to get stuck in your sponge brush and not on the actual project. You want to apply enough so that your image doesn't come off. Now, I am totally new to decoupaging. I love the whole concept of it, so I decided to try it. And I instantly fell in love with it. I am not even going to lie to you guys. I fell in love with decoupaging. And until recently, whenever I would decoupage something, I would always have wrinkles when I used napkins or tissue paper. Anything besides scrapbook paper, I would have wrinkles or bubbles. And then I learned a trick, guys. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to lay my napkin on the palette after I Mod Podge. And then I am going to take and get another piece of wax paper. I'm going to take that wax paper and I am going to lay that wax paper face down, wax side down. Put the shiny side, make sure the shiny side is touching the napkin. So you want the paper side facing you. And you lay that right over your image. You don't have to smooth anything out. You put that shiny side down. And you can see here what I'm doing. Now, guys, I have a mini heat press. If you do not have a mini heat press, it's okay. You can use an iron on a... I put my setting on high. Put it on a pretty high setting. And I am going to... It's on setting 2. I think that's like 300 degrees. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. I am going to iron. And I'm going to start in the middle and I'm going to go out. And I'm going to do that to the right. And then I'm going to do it again for the left. Start in the middle and go out. You won't have a wrinkle, a bubble, a crease. This is the easiest possible way you can decoupage something. I haven't tried glass yet. I wouldn't suggest putting heat on glass. It probably wouldn't work. But I know for wood products and such, I've even done this on metal. It works like a charm. Now, you don't want to leave that on there too long. You want to be really quick because it can still get stuck to your project. Now, you can see I'm pulling it off really slowly here. Because you do the middle so much from the middle out, sometimes usually my middle gets a little stuck and the rest pulls off like nothing. And you can see my image is so smooth. I mean, it's absolutely perfect, guys. If I had known this when I first started, I wouldn't have been half as frustrated. So now I'm going to take my finger sander and I'm just going to sand off all the excess. I'm going to do it to the sides, the top, the bottom. And always sand in a downward motion. That way your image doesn't lift off the project. Now the sides aren't just going to fall off because they are connected in between the slats. So just sand all around your project first, like I'm doing here. And then very carefully rip it away from the center of the slats. And it's okay if it rips, because I'm actually going to cut each slat so you can see the spacing in this slat when I'm done. I don't want it to look like one solid piece. I want it to look like a palette with an image on it. So now I'm going to take my little Frisker's finger knife here, and I'm going to make one line down the center of, in between the palettes. Now they're separated. So now I'm going to actually take my finger sander and I am going to sand. I'm going to take that sandpaper off and I'm going to sand very gently in between each slat to get that little piece of paper in between the slats to come off. Just very easy, guys. Not rough. I mean, very gently. And you'll see when I'm done that that little piece of paper in between the slots is just going to come right out. It's going to be a little thin strip of napkin, and it's just going to come right out. See that? That's perfect. I'm just making sure there's no leftover pieces stuck, and it's a nice clean line. Again, do it as gentle as possible. And if you don't have a finger sander, just rip off a piece of sandpaper. Just make sure it's like a it's not a high grade. Perfect. Now, I'm going to take these larger tumbling tower blocks. I believe I got these at Family Dollar. They sell them in the game section, and they're like $6, $7. And they're bigger than the tumbling tower blocks. And I'm going to apply this to the back of my palette because I want it to sit up on my tier tray. So I got my little silicone mat out because I'm going to use some hot glue. And I'm just going to apply some hot glue on the back of that block. And I'm going to stand my palette up. The reason why I stand it up before I glue it is to make sure, A, it's not uneven, and B, I get a nice smooth bottom. And that's it. I'm just going to apply some pressure. And now our palette is standing up on its own. And guys, this came out so beautiful. I didn't let it sit long enough and it got stuck. But I'm just going to take my fingernail. I'm going to get rid of some of that excess glue. And make sure the bottom is nice and smooth. This project came out so good, guys. I think, well, I like all three of them, to be honest, but this just goes to show you, you can get high-end decor for your home on a budget. You don't have to spend tons of money decorating your home. You can go to the Dollar Tree. Everything that I used in this video, besides the chalk paint, came from the Dollar Tree. For a couple of dollars, you can make something gorgeous for your home. You don't have to spend outrageous box store prices to get a high-end look in your home. And I'm all about saving money, guys. So I couldn't get a little bit of that excess glue off. So I'm just taking my finger sander, sandpaper, and rubbing off what I couldn't get with my fingernail. I'm making sure it's nice and sturdy. It's going to stand up. It's not going to fall over. It's not crooked or lopsided. And she's done. And, I mean, it's really pretty, guys. That's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed these 3 farmhouse DIYs. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit all notifications in the drop-down menu by the bell. Thank you.